Today we're out here at Sonoma Raceway with a 2023 Honda Civic Type R. That's the FL5 generation. It's actually owned by Eric, the owner of Fast In, Fast Out Track Days. That's who we're running with today at Sonoma. Awesome organization, very well run. If you want to check them out yourselves, link in the description. Won't have much traffic because they have very few cars per run group. And if you do run into traffic, these are people with great track etiquette. And they have that great middle point where it's not the wild, wild west in terms of complete lack of regulation and crazy shit happening on track, but they're also not so strict that you get told not to push beyond 7/10, which, believe it or not, is something I was told in Las Vegas with Audi Club, that you should not push beyond 7/10. It's like, bro, why are we even at the fucking racetrack then? All right, so in terms of mods, full mod list is down in the description. What you need to know, we have toe camber arms, rear sway bar, spherical front and rear bushings, Paragon 2-piece brake rotors with R5 pads, Ohlins road and track coilovers, 13 clicks from soft, Volk NE24 wheels, that's 18 inches wrapped in Falken RT660 rubber, that's a 275 section width. We have a front splitter, a big APR wing, acuity shifter bushings, and a hybrid racing short shifter. PRL intercooler intake and motor mount. It also has a custom tune, putting out 340 wheel horsepower over the stock, about 290 to 305. The engine is rated at 315 horsepower, but that is underrated from factory. And finally, Recaro pole position buckets. Finishing up the outlap here. Now, for those who've been watching this channel, you guys know I'm not as enthusiastic about the FL5 DE5 generation of Civic Type R and Integra Type S. But I was cautiously optimistic about Eric's FL5 here because of the choice modifications he did. Not just the Aero, not just the wheels, tires, the engine mount, things like that, but more specifically, the spherical bushings. Because getting into this car, what you immediately notice compared to other FL5s and DE5s, getting a little bit of rotation there right on that trail braking, you notice that there's this immediacy, this sense of connectedness that is otherwise significantly lacking from this generation of vehicle, which makes sense, right? As cars get newer and newer, manufacturers are responding to the market. People want cars that are comfortable, that sure are sporty, but are also not challenging and not difficult to drive. You don't have crazy NVH, right? So sure, these spherical bushings are going to increase NVH during your daily duties, but when you're on track, they add this directness that was otherwise just such a weakness in this generation of vehicle. This is also my first ever day at Sonoma Raceway. First time ever driving the track was this day. So we're gonna try to bring our times down lap after lap. The car already here in these S's giving a little bit more confidence, actually a lot more confidence than my Mazda Miata. And part of that is the stickier rubber, but also as we approach here turn 10, the scariest turn on the track, we have a lot of aero to improve stability. The trade-off is that you're going to get a little bit less rotation at high-speed trail braking. The rear's not going to want to rotate out as much. Not going into second gear on purpose because second gear in a car that has more than 300 horsepower and more than 300 pound-feet of torque is just, I mean, with front-wheel drive, it's a losing proposition. Bringing that lap time down to a 153.7 on our first hot lap. Now going back to the engine, it's the K20C1. That's a 2-liter turbocharged single scroll inline 4 that normally pushes out 315 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque with a 7,000 RPM redline. And here with the tune, we're making a little bit more than that as well. What's interesting, and one of the critiques I have about this car, is it tends to get a lot of torque steer, but I'm actually noticing, at least with this setup, and out here on track, I'm not getting nearly as much torque steer as I remember from the Canyons. And I had actually just driven a DE5 Integra in the Canyons, which was torque steering everywhere, but the spacers the owner added on that vehicle obviously mess with the geometry of what the dual axis McPherson strut front suspension is trying to do to reduce torque steer. Getting a little bit of that rotation with trail braking, which is very important with a front-wheel drive car because you're not going to be getting rotation with throttle input on mid-corner and corner exit. So you have to really get a lot of that rotation early on in braking. Carrying so much more speed here compared to the Miata that I drove, and that's my 2024 ND3, which has RT615K plus tires in a 215 section width, and also has very soft stock suspension right now, which I'll be changing shortly. Stay tuned if you want to see those updates. overall feeling very impressed with this car. You also have some shift lights that the steering wheel is covering right now, which is very helpful on track. There we go, 151.98. Slowly bringing the times down. And feeling more lively than I was anticipating. Again, the way that Eric has set this up, the suspension, the brakes, the spherical bushings being the biggest thing actually. And I personally disabled the auto rev mash because it just feels weird to me. It's almost like you have to learn a whole new technique to downshift and not do a heel toe. It's muscle memory, right? And the way these things can just claw for grip, giving a point back to the Mustang behind. Damn, that thing is loud. For what these cars are, front-wheel drive, they are very impressive from a performance perspective. The LSD, the suspension geometry in the front, really able to get the power down and put decent lap times, right? I mean, granted, there's a few more seconds that can be shaved off compared to what I'm doing here in the hands of someone that's highly skilled and has some level of comfort with this track. Even with that Aero getting a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of rotation with that trail braking. And at the place where you're operating this vehicle, you're not actually experiencing much turbo lag. Once you have the turbo spooled up and you're pushing on higher RPMs on track, not really much of an issue at all. Definitely more of an issue when you are out on the canyons, though. These tighter technical turns and the canyons where you don't have much width to a lane, that's where a turbo can surprise you, but because the power is going to the front wheels, it's not like you're going to get in trouble if the turbo builds suddenly there. Now with the traffic on the last lap, we're down to a 152.73, about a second slower than the lap before, giving that point by and such. I've only driven one other FL5 on track, which was a couple years ago at Eagles Canyon Raceway, and that was a bone stock example. And also I was brand new to that track as well. But if memory serves me correctly, this just feels so much more buttoned down, so much more connected with the mods that Eric has done here. Went a little deep there, but ended up just late apexing it. I'll try to salvage that. Down to a 151.1. Let's see if we can try to get a 150. I was asking a lot of the tires there, hence the front tires screaming for mercy. I overslow on that corner. With that compression, I can definitely carry a bit more speed. Carry more lateral G's as well in that compression. Now the brakes are feeling great for most of the lap, where they have this very almost Porsche-like solidity to them and that initial grab. The issue I have is actually just on the very last corner, turn 11, that hairpin, where it feels like they aren't quite as linear as I'm getting to this lower speed and trying to do a bit more fine-tuning with the trail braking and trying to lift off ever so slightly, get a bit more rotation. got that GT3 behind that we're gonna let pass the next time it straightens out. He's gonna go on the inside. Damn, those sound good. .1. One more lap. Let's see if we can make a 50 happen. This corner is also a bit intimidating because it's blind crest there. Don't want to run off into the dirt. Came in too hot, missed the apex. Can also brake a little bit later over that crest. It's interesting watching my footage back and seeing all these various areas for improvement. And for those with more experience on this racetrack, please do drop some comments below. Let's help each other out. Any tips you have to approach various corners faster. I think this was already, these S's right here were already a bit better than my prior laps. Better line, carrying a little bit more speed. This power bump over stock is so welcome on track. It is so black and white compared to my Mazda Miata pushing at 181 horsepower at the weight of just a little bit over 3,000 pounds. This is a great power to weight ratio and the car feels nice and balanced with this tune. Just waving a little thank you. The Giancarlo owner. Again, great etiquette at this event. And a 150.9. Again, another second or two to be had on this car, on this track. It just goes to show you that the FL5 is this feat of engineering in terms of what can be achieved with a front-wheel drive vehicle. And what Honda has done here is really excellent from a performance perspective. I just wish that out of the box, straight from factory, it was a bit more engaging. But you get the right mods like what Eric has done here, and it makes this car feel so much more alive, so much more direct, so much more engaging. And it's one of the most fun FL5 or DE5s that I have driven to date. Again, spherical bushings probably being the most important mod to add that connectedness, especially with the front end, is that immediacy and direct connectedness, even a bit of steering feedback actually, which normally in this generation is significantly lacking. Definitely pleasantly surprised.
Wow, what a car! This is my favorite FL5/DE5 that I've ever driven. Spherical pushing make a huge difference in terms of responsiveness, front end feel, even the feedback through the steering wheel is a lot better. Super blanket, Aero helping with high speed stability as well. I'm super impressed. For those who've watched the channel for a while, you guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of this generation. But what Eric's done here makes this actually quite a lot of fun on track. Wow, I'm impressed.
Again, big shout out to Eric from Fast In, Fast Out. If you want to check them out, use the link in the description below. Big thanks to Fenton from the Zygoon channel for helping make this review possible. My friends, if you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, and I'll see you all in that next one.